Welcome to the Undrafted, Uncensored cast of Pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanger. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome, everyone, to Undrafted Uncensored, where I adulted, and not only did I adult, I was able to go to Instagram and come back without a delay.
I'm proud of you.
Look at
And that's
that.
all because you went back to the old computer that doesn't make sounds when you're typing.
No, it's because I upgraded my internet.
I'm gonna say
Nick
it's the
should
old
start
computer.
typing.
I am going. No, I won't start typing. I don't need to mess with.
it.
Not mess with the gods. Not mess with the gods right now.
You got one thing. You got one thing right. Unlike all of us other drafters who waited till day 3 for Shedeur.
Good grief! I mean,
man,
yeah.
and
You know
like when
what?
I saw that was a bet you could make on ESPN, like Shedeur to not get taken in the first round, I was like, man, I don't know if I would have had the balls to take that, but at the same time, there was so much talk. Like if I had really taken the time to think about that, like that might have been worth a $5-10 flyer.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean,
I didn't do it.
I don't think I don't know if all. I mean, obviously the Shedeur haters probably did.
I took the under on. They moved him up to 10.5, and I was like, oh, he's got to be taken before that. Nope.
No.
Oh, I thought you meant the under, like
On day 3.
That's rough.
Yeah. Day 3, you pick 6 or whatever. Unreal.
Dude,
He was a
I
top
like
10 pick in the
6.
5th round.
Yeah, we'll get to the Broncos here in a sec because, I mean, obviously that's 90% of what we're going to talk about anyway. But, I mean, what did you do in your interview that all these talking heads are saying he had a bad interview? Like, how did your dad not prepare you for that? Like, all these years, and you prepare him for whatever happens on the field, but what happens off the field is just as important, especially nowadays.
Yeah, and like I think it's a culmination of things. But you have to have a really bad interview to cause this. Like he was projected as a top 5 pick. Like when the decision was made to take Travis Hunter over Shedeur Sanders, that was a thing that we were all, months ago looking at. Like that's a real decision someone's going to have to make. And then as it got closer to the draft, it just became more clear that nobody really values Shedeur like Travis Hunter for one reason or another. And like I was just talking to one of the fellas over here at the station, John Davis, and I guess there was a story that came out that's uncorroborated, but in his interview with Brian Daboll, the Giants gave him the playbook to take home and study. I'm not sure if they did the whole like $100 Bill Paxton Lynch thing in there or not, but Bo Nix got that same test from Sean Payton, came back, memorized the entire playbook, had it down. Shedeur didn't. I don't think it was as bad as like missing, like he probably looked through it or whatever, but he didn't have it down. And Daboll called him out on it, and he got angry and argumentative with Brian Daboll. Also not knowing the thing and, showing up. I agree that it's a problem, but it makes me laugh so hard that Dan Jacobs' like number one problem with Shedeur's attitude is that he wore a sideways hat to an interview. Like, and that is a terrible look. Don't get me wrong, but that is taking precedent over, flashing the watch and all kinds of other like red flags. Yeah, but he wore his hat sideways to an interview. Like, but like, dude, it's got to be something crazy. Like this is like did your teammates go to your birthday party type situation?
Yeah, it's really unreal that 5 other quarterbacks are taken before you, and then that 5th quarterback taken before you is Dylan Gabriel from Oregon, who was drafted by the Browns 2 rounds earlier in the 3rd round, and then the Browns come back around in the 5th round and take Shedeur.
They traded up
and
to get a guy
they
that
traded
could have
back
just
up to
taken
get
early.
him.
Yeah.
And I understand his free fall, but all these teams passing, at least 2-3 times on them, not every team has a pick in every round.
Yeah.
Multiple teams passing more than that on a player like Shedeur Sanders. When you're taking unproven guys or injured guys. Jackson Dart hasn't played a whole season. Yeah, he has some talent, obviously, but hasn't played a whole season, I think, in his whole college career. It's very interesting and questionable what happened and whether it was the dad influence. I don't think all the noise of him getting his jersey retired at CU helped at all.
No.
I think it just kind of gave off more of the privileged type of look. And I've known people from all spectrums and walks of life, as many of us have. And I've known people who are, what you would call privileged and had things handed to them, but they're still hard workers. I've known people who grown up with a silver spoon in their mouth and they've let that lead their way the whole time. The thing is regardless of what situation you're in, you take advantage of it and you still work at it. And I think Shedeur has worked at it. There are some times and some questions, you look back at him calling out the offensive line and then having them all there afterwards. But at the end of the day, is he less talented than Jackson Dart or Dylan Gabriel or Jalen Milroe or Tyler? It's not Chuck, right?
I have no idea how to say it. I just kind of like to make like a kind of sound and just do it differently every time.
But, you got a guy who's compared to Joe Flacco in here, and I don't really understand why it took so long. And the Steelers came out last night, and Art Rooney had a comment about they're waiting on Aaron Rodgers, and supposedly he clarified that today. I didn't have a chance to get into it, but that might be why the Steelers passed on him. But
still, you need a quarterback.
So questionable. You're
going to need a quarterback in 2-3 years anyway.
Yeah, I feel like though for them, they've got enough. There's quarterbacks in the next draft that they can get that I think are a better fit for what they want to do. Like Shedeur wants to throw it 50 times a game. He wants to be in shotgun. He wants to sling it. He doesn't want to operate an Arthur Smith, run the football to a fault type offense.
Yeah.
And so I think they kind of know that too. So maybe it's more of a fit thing with them. Because it can't be a culture thing, because Aaron Rodgers has to be worse for your team than Shedeur Sanders.
Right?
Like, if we're talking about red flags and culture is the reason we didn't take Shedeur Sanders, and you turn around and sign Aaron fucking Rodgers, like, come on. So, I don't know. It's crazy.
It had to be the interviews. It had to be his time there. Is
there just a dead hooker somewhere?
And then the hit piece that was put out on him beforehand. But still, to fall 5 rounds when there are guys of much more questionable character being drafted much earlier than him, I don't really think it's a character as far as outside of football. Maybe the character and the bravado is what pushes some teams away. And we loved it and hated it here. But your teammates, it seemed his teammates all loved him. And I think that's all that really matters. Obviously that's not true, because if that's all that mattered, he would have been drafted higher. There are so many spots that the teams could have taken him. And I thought Jacksonville was honestly kind of a dark horse, because if Trevor Lawrence doesn't continue to progress, him and Travis Hunter team back up out in Jacksonville.
I like
Miami.
That one a lot.
Miami was an option. Their wide receivers down there.
Ooh.
You had teams. I thought it would have been really funny if the Falcons decided to take him. So him and Pennick start going after it. But they have weapons, and that's an offense that I think, with a competent quarterback, that offense in Atlanta should hum. And we don't know what's happening with Michael Penix. I liked him coming out of Washington last year. I know the injuries were there, but I thought he was a phenomenal talent. It's just, to go to round 5 in a quarterback weak class, you're right, Joe. At the end of the day, it's about next year's draft. I mean, the Saints don't even have a quarterback. I mean,
they got nobody.
Their one quarterback, Derek Carr, his car battery is dead right now. It's not going. So what are you doing out there? They're definitely trying to suck for Arch. there's so many questions about what's going on, and I don't know if the league. It literally feels like there's some sort of tampering going on.
Yeah, like something, and like I could also see it to where like the league is just GMs are just like scared rabbits. And as soon as somebody doesn't take Shedeur, well, he must have a reason for it. Now I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Do I? And so I can see that to an extent happening. But I feel like that first round is like once the Steelers passed up on him in the 20s, like that's when you knew. But until then, like there should have been more teams to take him. And I had the same thought too, Colin, of like, where does he go now? I was looking at picks, and one of my first thoughts was the Cowboys, because they need an heir apparent to Dak Prescott. He's not going to be there forever. The Cowboys fans want him gone right now. And Jerry Jones was like a guy that would like take a flyer on him. I was also looking at maybe the Rams need a guy to take over for Matt Stafford in a couple of years. Sean McVay would do very well with a guy like Shedeur. Or do the Niners want to pay Brock Purdy, or they want to have a guy like that? But like, fuck, the Browns feels like the worst situation, not the worst, but like one of the worst situations he could be in, but like the one that a lot of us kind of thought he might be in because they had the second pick. So it's just weird. Like you almost want to say it's like 5-head, big brain, 3D chess move to trade back and get all those picks and then take Shedeur later anyway. But they also wasted a pick on Dylan Gabriel, and then they also wasted a pick to trade back up to get Shedeur. So what the fuck?
Well, this is also Cleveland that has no idea how to operate a football organization.
That's true.
And where quarterbacks go to die.
Yeah, it is Cleveland. You're right. I'm sorry.
So, I mean,
the reason why the Browns moved up, in my opinion, was because the Rams were sitting there 4 picks later. And I think they probably were going that way if it did fall one more time to them. Well, they had to jump both the Rams and the 49ers 3-4 picks later. 3 and 4 picks later. And then it was the Cowboys after that. So it really is mind-boggling to go to the 5th round when you're surrounded. These are the guys that he's surrounded by. Carson Vincent, never heard of him? Nope. Riley Mills? Nope. Jordan Phillips? Nope. Mac Williams? I've heard of Mac Mill, but not Mac McWilliams, excuse me.
Yep.
Braden Swinson and
Jordan
Jordan James. Like, I just that's a talent he's surrounded by, and did he deserve to fall? Maybe if he didn't take things seriously, but to the 5th round is still just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was some kind of, and maybe not to the level of collusion, but just all it takes is a rumor that we're not taking this guy and we found something bad. We don't like him, and then all of a sudden it spreads, and the league, and then especially once teams kind of call their own bluff and actually don't draft Shedeur that needed a quarterback like that, I think really set things in motion too. So I could see it escalating, but it does feel like there was some kind of plan. It almost feels like the Browns went against the plan. Like the entire NBA had a unwritten agreement to not draft Bronny James. The Browns kind of went and drafted Bronny James.
Sorry. I don't know. I mean, like, and I don't want to sound mean, and I don't want to drag him through the mud or anything, but how much of this is just stigma off of Prime too, though? Like nobody wants to deal with Prime being in their locker room, on their field, in their stadium, because if something goes wrong, is Prime gonna come in and voice his opinion? Is he gonna go straight to the owner? I mean, you look at the Cowboys. The Cowboys drafted him. He's got a direct line to Jerry Jones,
and he played for the 49ers.
Yeah.
He played for the Falcons.
So, I mean, there's 3 teams right there that don't want him in their locker room, I would assume. And then
clearly
here's the Cleveland Browns that are just naturally a dumpster fire. And I mean, this is a brand new organization after they hightailed it to Baltimore. They're like, oh, we're the Cleveland Browns again, and nothing changed.
Yeah.
No, it did. They got worse. they went from being a perennial AFC championship contender and one of those teams that's like, man, they're going to get one eventually, like we all thought Buffalo would.
Yeah.
And then they went to Baltimore and got 2. So,
Yeah.
Cleveland should have a couple rings. They don't. Sorry. Sucks to suck. I also kind of love that idea of like, man, this guy's going to be a locker room cancer. Well, you know what? Good news. Our locker room already fucking sucks. Let's just take it. It can't possibly get any worse.
Oh, I mean, don't say that, but
Yeah,
because we said that about the Broncos. There are so many things that I can't wait for, 20, 30 years and the tell-all that is going to happen because there has
someone's going
to be so much more. There's the Dayball stuff in the interview. There's got to be other things happening. But even if you are the Cowboys who you mentioned earlier, wouldn't you kind of want Prime there? Like there was all the Jerry. Maybe that is why the Cowboys didn't take him, because Prime didn't want to be their coach.
Time out.
Maybe that was yes.
Sorry, breaking news. Russell Westbrook is out tonight.
That doesn't surprise me. That
foot injury.
That makes me sad, but yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Honestly,
round double.
Maybe it's for the best to actually get some rest, because as like nice as it is to see your guys, put it all out there and play hurt, I'd rather them play good. So if you got to put in the backup so the other guy can play good in the next game, which really is what's going to matter the most. This game, every game matters in the playoffs.
Still waiting for him
in
to
the
play
playoff
good.
series. But the elimination game will be the next game. So if you have to do something like that, I almost want to see Porter or Gordon also, and maybe just rest during the game, not necessarily take the whole game off. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's not the worst news.
No, it was
but it definitely hurts the chances in this game.
Needed to be turned
how else are the Nuggets going to come back from 3-1 without losing this game?
That's what I've been saying. We got them right where we're going to lull them into a false sense of security so that we get them 3-1 down to the Clippers is perfect.
And of course, I just got my free player of the game. I need Kawhi to score 15.
There you go. Well, James Harden scored last game, so now it's Kawhi's turn. They've been, trading off, right? So, but yeah, with the Shedeur thing, I feel like there's going to be a lot of interviews like that come out, like Brian Daboll's, if that's even true, because we still don't even totally know. That has not been corroborated. That's just it's a very believable rumor, is what it is. And it's sad that it's so believable that based on his character that we've seen, that tracks. He would not study very much and then get angry when you call them out on it and say that he did study a lot. That feels like something that dude would do, But it's going to be crazy to see. I think there might be some tell-alls in the next few years. Like if Brian Daboll gets fired, does he just come out and tell the exact story?
I think you'll have to give his season or his career some seasoning first before you start letting those dogs loose. Because if it's his rookie year and you're dropping bombs like that, it's not going to fly very well for Daboll.
And if you're revealing stuff behind closed doors, it's much like why am I blanking on his name from Miami? The coach who was talking about the racist stuff, who sued the Dolphins. Brian Flores.
There it is. Thank you.
I thought you were talking about the offensive line coach that was doing cocaine on his desk.
Not that Flores. Flores obviously has had his chance with Minnesota again, but his head coaching opportunities have kind of dried up. So
dwindled.
That's why I think it's going to take some years, but we're going to hear the story eventually about what happened in this draft, especially if Shedeur goes out and balls out, which is a possibility. Let's not forget this Browns offense is still pretty damn good. Yeah, they had some good weapons, and
they just drafted Quinshon Judkins, so they got Shedeur, they got Judkins, they've got. I think Garrett Wilson's gone, but not Garrett Wilson. The other guy. There was the receiver.
Cedric Wilson.
Yes. They had why can't I think of his name now? Elijah Moore. He looks like Garrett Wilson, size, stature wise, everything. But yeah, that Jerry Judy's still there, who's not terrible, but he's not a number one. But that's a decent David Njoku. Shedeur never had a tight end even close to Njoku. So that'll be a nice little safety blanket for him. So yeah, I could see that. Kevin Stefanski's offense, like from a football standpoint, it makes sense. It's just so weird that they wasted so much. Like it's clear this wasn't their plan. They pivoted to this, like, John Elway taking Bradley Chubb. Because they wouldn't have taken Dylan Gabriel and then had to trade up to get him. They would have already taken him in the 4th or whatever.
Yeah.
But I could totally see it for sure, man. It's do they undrafted Shiloh?
Oh, definitely. I mean, he was a free agent before the draft even started. No,
yeah, he wasn't invited to the. I mean, not that you have to be invited to the combine to be, that you have to be invited to the combine to be any good, because we see here, Philip Lindsay, our very own Philip Lindsay, who wasn't invited, who is the last Broncos running back to go for 1,000 yards. I mean, you don't have to be a combine invite to be good, but I think Shiloh's not on that same level.
No,
but, I'm sitting here looking at this draft, and I'm looking at what's still available, and this is so weird because a guy like Quinn Ewers is still on the board too.
Yeah,
like what the hell? He was.
I don't know
if he went into the draft last year. He was a top pick in last year's draft.
Yeah, he would have been the 7th quarterback taken in the 1st round.
And the drop, I don't know what this draft is very confusing. This draft is drunk. There have been so many questionable things that have just happened, or weird things that have happened.
Like the Broncos just drafted a punter.
Did they draft a punter? Really?
Oh, yeah, sick! I love that. Yeah, let's use draft picks on punters.
Jeremy Crawshaw.
Anybody for Crawshaw?
So the Broncos have still not drafted a tight end.
No,
this draft, this whole draft, obviously.
I'm sure there's a sink.
They drafted 2 edge rushers, a wide receiver, a running back, and a cornerback. Evan Ingram better stay healthy. That's the one damn thing that I gotta say.
Knock on wood.
We'll see. I'm not totally opposed to the running back draft for the Broncos. Like Harvey, though, they ran the ball a lot, and he could have a lot of tread on his tires. You could say that UCF was kind of a Wisconsin light in some ways, where the Broncos have had some, there have been some good running backs from Wisconsin, but there's also been some that have just fluttered out because of all their use, or maybe Penn State light. Penn State and Kajana Carter style. That didn't really pan out. Evan Ingram has to stay healthy, and the Broncos, they have one more pick in this draft after drafting a punter. Sure, okay. I would have liked to have seen. I honestly would have liked to have seen what's his name from tight end. Let me get this tight end from Iowa. He was a little injured last year. I just had.
You had me at tight end from Iowa.
Yeah, Luke Lachey. No familial relation to the Lachey of 98 Degrees.
Yeah,
Jessica Simpson's old man or whatever.
Yeah, he's like
Nick Lachey. There we go. I think they were 98.
Hey,
they were 98.
Sorry, dude. I gotta step away real quick. My Amazon delivery sitting on my porch.
It's all good. So I just sit here when you still have an Iowa tight end. The Broncos still have one more draft pick. This is where you take darts. Actually take a dart in the 1st round if you're the Giants. But I
like.
I don't know where there's
receivers. Are they any of them still available? I imagine. Will Shepard, LeJontay Wester.
See this. This is why we don't change layouts, because now this, it was perfect before, and now it's all
worked out
again.
It was symmetrical. We had symmetry,
oh my goodness.
And then everything's bad. They don't even
know who's now we're just. And now it's all. See, I'm trying to fix it. All right, well, whatever. I'll just put them back.
There we go.
We got an empty spot in the middle. As far as CU wide receivers go, doing a quick rundown of the top ones left. No, I don't see that. I don't see any in the top 23 for CU or CSU wide receivers.
Okay, so either they're already taken or they're not highly like coveted. But like I don't hate taking a punter with a draft pick because you look at like Matt Ariza, who was amazing. Do you look at the Australian kid that didn't the Chiefs end up with, which I hate?
No, the Chiefs have Ariza now.
Oh, the Chiefs got Ariza. That's right. Yeah,
He was drafted by the Bills and had his thing, and then
and then the Australian kid went somewhere, and he had a really good rookie season too. He was the one from Iowa that was so good, because Iowa loves running the ball and defense. So yeah, a punter actually is a weapon for them. But like unless it's one of those type guys, I don't want to draft a punter. And like I get it, if he's gonna be really good, maybe a 6th round rookie contract is just a nice way to not have to pay a punter. But like that's a draft pick, man. Like that could be your, obviously we're not in the market for a quarterback, but that could be Tom Brady. Any 6th round pick, it could have been Tom Brady. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and so
it's
it's tough. The other thing I have an issue with for the Broncos right now is that there was no offensive line help. I know, like I said, I said this in our last show. I know where PFF and the Broncos all ranked on the offensive line, but my eyes still tell me a different story. And we also sit with the Broncos and we look at this aging process. I mean, how many more Mike McGlinchey or Ben Powers penalties do we need to have? How many more Garrett Bowles penalties do we need to have before we get sick of it? Because how many times were the Broncos in a 2nd and long situation or a 3rd and long situation? It's the same thing that kind of troubled them. And as I've said before, Bo Nix helped to mask some of those issues because he was way more athletic than I think any of us saw. I mean, maybe Nick knew it probably. Nick was the one who knew how athletic and fleet of foot he was. But he surprised in a lot of ways with that. Yeah. And this offensive line is not whatever you want to say about Javonte, whatever you want to say about Jaleel, they weren't good at running the ball. And I know that the running game struggled most of the time. I mean, the rushing yards came from Bo Nix, but these guys are supposed to be good run blockers. At least Powers was supposed to be the best run blocker coming out, coming from Baltimore. And you couldn't create enough space for these guys to go. It didn't matter which running back it was. I mean, Estime had his fumbling issues. I worry about this offensive line,
but I worry. Most of those two were in open field when he's away from the line of scrimmage already. That's when he's reaching the 2nd, 3rd levels.
Yeah.
And I don't. Maybe it was like one Jaleel McLaughlin run where I remember.
Yeah, there was
reaching the 2nd level early in the season too. It was like game 1 or 2 or something. It was like, oh man, there we go. I like overall what they did, but like I said, the lack of offensive help. If you're going to draft a punter, I think you should get some offensive line help.
Maybe
the Broncos know they'll be punting a bunch and they need that, but especially if this guy can't beat out Dixon, it's a waste to pick.
Didn't Dixon go somewhere? Isn't he gone?
Oh, that's right. No, you're right. The Broncos.
Yeah, we did need a punter. I don't think we needed to use a draft pick on it. I agree with you that I think some of the guys on the line are overrated, but I also think that Sean Payton just didn't call runs. He just didn't want to run.
No.
And so they just never really got into a rhythm. And yeah, the running backs weren't great. I feel like though the line is relatively deep, I'd be looking to maybe just trade McGlinchey. You have a backup that played well. You could save a lot of money. I don't know if it was going to take McGlinchey, but Palchevsky was good. You have depth at a couple different spots on the O-line. I don't love Powers either. He makes a lot of money. Obviously, Quinn Miners is fantastic. We keep that guy around for his fucking career if we can. But I feel like some of that offensive line help might already be there, and maybe they just need to give some of those kids a chance. Give Peace a chance, Colin. But I could see that too. Anger. My dad said the same thing. He's like, yeah, just draft offensive linemen, because that's honestly, it's kind of like drafting quarterback. It never hurts to take more offensive linemen because at the end of the day, someone has to block.
Well, I mean, sometimes too, linemen are Linemen are kind of like used cars too. You can find some good value out there on the free agent market too, with depending on how your blocking scheme goes and how your line coach goes, because you might want that brand new car and it's all shiny and pretty and you think you have a great value, and then you go hit the used car lot and you're like, that would have taken $200 off my payment there if I'd have gone for that one instead, and that one's running way better because I just had to take this to Elon 3 more times.
And I could use $200 right now.
Can we all?
I mean, and we're in round 7 now of the drafts, and there's 35 picks, I think, and the 41 picks in this last round. So there's 39 more picks in this draft left to go. 38 now, excuse me. The Giants just took a tight end to help their quarterback out. Thomas Fedone out of Nebraska.
Which one?
Thomas Fedone II out of Nebraska.
Which quarterback, though? They got 4 of them.
Well, according to Dayball, Russell Wilson is the starter.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So Jackson Dart will have someone to throw to eventually. This whole draft was very, very weird. And
it was weird.
And normally, we talk about... I don't know what I'm feeling towards this draft. I'm kind of just feeling meh.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed. I'm not
like
excited. I'm not.
It was like.
I'm questioning this draft.
Yeah.
I question some of it. Like
a microwave burrito.
Brown, cool. Like best cornerback. Great secondary, but we've talked about it before. The reason why the Broncos won that one Super Bowl was their defense.
Yeah.
But you still had to respect the quarterback. And Peyton Manning made up for a lot of, his mind made up for a lot of mistakes. You still have a young quarterback back there who's not obviously as skilled as Peyton Manning or as knowledgeable, and you're not helping him out. I don't know. I'm at a very, very incomplete meh. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's hope the defense can hold up and not have a bad string of 5-6 games. Because if they have a bad string of 5-6 games, this offense isn't totally different from what it was last year, and I don't think that they can get into, scoring matches back and forth. I don't think they can hang in those, at least consistently. A game here and there, of course, they might be able to, but I don't think consistently they can do what the Bengals did last year and just try and outscore you.
This
if
draft
the Broncos get in that situation, they're in trouble.
This draft is the equivalent of instant ramen. You didn't know what you wanted for dinner. You open the pantry and you just go, it's got some flavor. It's got some carbs. All right, whatever. That's kind of how this draft felt to me. I just kind of threw the instant ramen on the stove and I had instant ramen for dinner because meh.
I would say it's more like that meal that you make with whatever you happen to have in the pantry. Maybe some leftovers. Like, this might be the best fucking meal you've ever made. It might just be fine. It might have parts of it that are really good, but it feels like I kind of like the best player available to an extent, but not really, because it's almost like best player available, but also with scheme fit, but less so about the position. Like Colin said, we needed a tight end. And we'll see how the running back works out. I like taking a running back. This feels like a more Sean Payton-esque running back. Omarion Hampton didn't feel like a Sean Payton running back. Sean Payton's not going to give him enough carries to really, stumble and bumble and rumble over people. So this Dent kid feels like more of a Sean Payton-esque pick. But
Dent, Harvey?
Yeah. What's up?
Oh, Harvey Dent. I gotcha. RJ Harvey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like he's gonna I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough. But this draft could end up being really good. It could just be a bunch of quality players that contribute. But and the receiver, apparently he's got really good hands. We kind of need that. Just that quality dude with stickum for hands type guy. Obviously, we don't know if that's what he is, but that's what he's projected to be, is that style of receiver. The comp is Marcus Colston, which Sean Payton loves. So, they could also end up just being a bunch of meh. Like this running back could end up being like, oh, hey, this is like our Darren Sproles or whichever of your favorite Saints running backs, or it could just be like taking No Sean Marino in the first round, like it could end up just being very meh. You're right. But I think overall it could be pretty good. I like getting the special teams guy. I don't love that he plays edge, but you can probably move him around, get him some other skill sets. Maybe, I don't know. It feels underwhelming, but it could be kind of like a dark horse draft, I guess is what I'm saying.
It could be.
Yeah.
When I sit here, I'm going to compare this draft to the Chargers draft because I've been following what the Chargers have done ever since the Broncos passed on Omari and Hampton. I mean, the Broncos took Barron, Harvey, and Bryant, cornerback, running back, wide receiver. The Chargers went, Chargers went Hampton, obviously, running back, and then wide receiver and Trey Harris, who, by the way, his comp is Rashee Rice. Just stay off the roads and don't speed, young man. And then Jamari Caldwell, the defensive tackle out of Oregon. When I look at those two comparatively, I like the Chargers instead of 3 way more than I like the Broncos.
Yeah, the one position I wanted too was that defensive tackle. I wanted some big. I said it talking to Dan Jacobs then too. I was like, I want some big mother individual to come in here and just eat up the middle of that line because the Broncos couldn't. I mean, obviously stopping Derrick Henry is a tall order, but they couldn't do anything against him, and they couldn't stop guys like J.K. Dobbins for the Chargers. They couldn't stop a lot of running backs that you should be able to do more against than they did, especially with a defense as highly touted as the Broncos. But they were just kind of small. So I would have loved to get just some fucking beefcake to come in there and just eat people on the defensive line. That would have been great.
Oh, there's still time too between now and all the workouts and everything. So I'm sure they'll find somebody, maybe if not in the draft, then obviously on the streets they'll offer some guys some, undrafted contracts, and they're good at finding diamonds in the rough. Then so I mean, it seems like every year the Broncos find a diamond in the rough. So we'll just have to wait. The Broncos have one more pick, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They're still like 25 picks away.
Yeah, I mean they'll be done by the time, or they'll still be waiting by the time we're done. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what they do afterwards and who they talk to and offer after the draft is over.
18 picks away, excuse me.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't know. We might.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Go ahead and move on. The Spartans got their second home win in a row, and again another big time win at home as they shut out. They had a shutout last week, 49-0. They once again looked really, really good, and they're sitting in second place right now.
Well, getting a new defensive coordinator obviously proved to help this team after their first 2 games on the road. That change has, spurred some really good play by this team. Obviously, being at home, I think helps too. But it's exciting to have a team in the Spartans here that is, contending right now. Moving up, and it just, I think that home cooking is sometimes the best, especially especially when you have a fan base in Colorado that seems to be taking in the Spartans much more.
Yeah, and I mean last week, and we're kind of dealing with the fact that the Nuggets and the Avs are in the playoffs too, so that makes it a little difficult. But you've got people showing up a little bit after the game starts, but that's fine. They're showing up.
Well,
There's you go tonight, wear black. They're looking to black out the house. And if not, turn on to the NAL YouTube channel. We'll be there with the live stream of it. Idaho kicked down into the third place officially. The Spartans sit second, only behind the Omaha Beef, who, again, they're a perennial winning team. And that's the last game of the year. If the Spartans can keep winning, they have a chance to make some noise, especially if they have to play the Beef to get to the championship.
I mean, let's hope that they can bring some of that back, because when the Crush were here, you know, they won a championship and they were really damn good for a few years, and then just obviously all the behind the scenes stuff that happened with them and in the league, it just
like they had a video
it
game.
was tough.
John Dutton was on the cover of the Arena Football video game. It was
yeah.
Arena Football like 06 or 08. They made like a couple of them. And we had two of the best players in that league, Dutton and Damian Harrell.
And so Colorado faces off tonight against Wheeling. They lost to Wheeling week 1. And that was the game they were up. I think it was like 36-9 or something like that. And Wheeling ended up coming back. So like you said, Colin, having a new DC back there to call plays is, pertinent for this team because they should have won that game. And they just kind of let it slip out of their hands.
And you were talking about the penalties. Obviously, in that game, there were a lot of penalties on them, and those seem to have been cut down in the last few weeks. Yeah. They're the ones who are creating the miscues on the opposing team, which I think is the biggest thing. You don't make mistakes, you make the other team make the mistake.
Exactly.
So hopefully they can continue that trend.
They're looking a lot better. Coach Shaw's really got them buttoned up right now. I think, again, playing at home, too, makes it a little bit nicer for them, too. They're having fun. They're looking good, and hopefully this will be a nice winning streak here that we can take into next week as well for the final home game before they hit the road for 2 more. So, that's been – and don't forget, tickets are available, AXS.com, or if you can't make it, the National Arena League football YouTube page.
Watch it. Support locals. Support them.
I dare you.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to what I left as last because I knew this was going to be frustrating, mostly because the Avs face Game 3. I'm looking for the Avs to just get more aggressive. I mean, the Stars were basically lining up on the blue line to keep the Avs from even getting into the zone in the first place. Their forecheck was just dominating the Avs right at the blue line, and you can't do that. You can't let them bully you. And then, I mean, I'll go ahead. I lost my train of thought anyway.
Well, the Avs have only trailed in this series for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, let's
finish the
game. They've gotten some bad, I guess, bad breaks. They've let their guard down a little bit, maybe. The Avs I'm not as worried about. It would have been great to obviously win the game Landeskog comes back. You're up in that game, but it's a 1-0 game. And Blackwood has played phenomenal. I think that the questions about Blackwood in the playoffs have been answered, at least to this point. Now, who knows if it gets to second round and, Stanley Cup finals, how he reacts to that. But as of now, he's proven he belongs. This team just needs to bring that offensive firepower back. One of those things we talked about when the Avalanche got him and made those trades for Blackwood and Wedgwood was that the offense still needs to step up. They need to have that same fire as when Georgie was in net, where they felt like they needed to score 7 a night. And they should have that same fire, because if they can put 4 up on the board, they're obviously winning every game. But if they put 3 up, you're in competition to win that game no matter what. So it's only a 3-game sample, but I think the Avs come out tonight really on fire against the Stars.
I like that too. Like, is that the secret to the Avs? Like, they just need to have, like, they can't have too good of a goalie because they have to feel like they have to score a touchdown on the other team. Too good of defense, man, hurt the. I'm kidding, but like, it does feel weird having games with this Avalanche team in the playoffs end up 2-1. That feels like old school Avalanche hockey, or just other teams that don't score ridiculously like the Avs do. And so it almost just kind of nice, like them coming back down to earth to an extent. But the wins are the most important thing at the end of the day. So you know what? If the best way to win is 7-5, then fuck it, I'll take it. But I've been really impressed with Mackenzie Blackwood. He's been standing on his head. I feel like the Avs defense needs to step up and play better around Blackwood. because I feel like he's had some really good games. Like we said about Georgie, a couple times last year, it wasn't enough and it wasn't consistent. But so I don't want to see Blackwood have to keep doing this and then potentially have some crazy games where he gives up too many goals. But he's been worth every penny of every trade to pick him up.
Well, and you can't go into overtime with a nearly 4-minute power play and not score.
That drove me
That's the other
nuts.
thing you can't do. I mean, you can't.
Dallas
you
is
can't
such
be
a good defensive team. Like game one, having the 2-man advantage, it's not scoring, and then going into overtime with a, I could try to say playoff with a, you can't, it's
you can't. Yeah, you can't be gifted a power play like that and not score because that the roof would have blown off a Ballerina if they would have put one in.
On that power play. I was looking for Landeskog the whole time. I'm like, if someone's gonna score, it just feels like it's gonna be Landy. I don't know why. I just had that thought, and I didn't see him on the ice. I'm not sure how much time he played in the overtime period or not. But man, that one hurts. But it's like it's that good kind of hurt because you have a chance. It's not like getting blown out by the Clippers.
It's the same. It's the same type of issue that's plagued the Avs for some years. They are trying to be too fancy, and sometimes you need to not worry about Applebee's on a date night. You just need to freaking put pucks on net and go to McDonald's and get some greasy ass goals. And the Avs are not doing that. They're not peppering the net. And that's one thing I thought. I hope it's a 1-game sample size with Landeskog, but you have to hope that some of that grittiness comes back to the team, and he gets in Nate's ear and Nichushkin and Kale and just shoot the damn puck. Who the hell cares? Like, put it on net. I'm up front. Let me work on putting it in the back after I get the rebound.
Yeah, get Val in front of the net and do what you do.
Yeah,
they need to stop being so finesse and get a little greasy.
I agree.
Yeah,
the Nuggets just need to make baskets.
Hit fucking Mika Rantanen, just kicked his ass, just knocked him down. Like I don't have any animosity against Miko, but that was wonderful. Seeing Landeskog just fucking lay the wood on Miko real quick. That felt good. I want more of that. Please, thank you.
Well, Nuggets need to make a lot of baskets.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. This is becoming the Nuggets pre-Malone firing again, where they're just kind of, it seems like they're just there. I'm only here so I don't get fined. And it's getting kind of frustrating because this is a team they shouldn't be. You shouldn't be down 30 points in the fourth quarter to the Clippers.
No, you shouldn't. But here we are.
Yeah, and you sit here and you watch the Nuggets, and I don't know what's up with Jokic or the whole team. Jokic led a Team Serbia to a bronze medal game. And why you can't lead this group of players not to it's frustrating. And maybe it's the coach firing. Maybe there's a little bit of just the quick enthused shot of energy, shot in the arm that the team needed for the last 3 games. But man, they look like they want to go down 3-1. maybe that is what they need. They need that shot in the arm. They need the urgency, because when the Nuggets won the championship, they also had that sense of urgency going into the playoffs, winning those last. Well, not excuse me. They had the sense of urgency to win the regular season and take that time off, but you could tell they wanted to seal things up right away. So when you go into this series, maybe they just need that, like, well, all right, we have to do this now, and we're gonna. That's all I can hope.
Yeah. Is that the Nuggets version of a bad goaltender? Like they just need to be down 3-1 to get motivated to win?
Maybe.
I mean, at this point, I'll take anything to get them to start winning. This is not. I mean, team.
I'd say almost. I'm not going to say go Raiders though, but I'd say almost anything.
All right, so I guess is this Nuggets series over by? Well, I'll just say next week when we broadcast.
I think so. They don't seem in it. They don't seem connected to anything. It's 1, 2, 3 Cancun.
that the cohesion's not there. They're not healthy. Porter and Gordon are not 100%. Porter, like that may end up not being that much of a problem, but having Gordon not being 100%, that hurts a lot. Like it doesn't feel like one of those years where all it takes is the Nuggets to get hot and they can actually win. It's like they need to get healthy and then they need to get hot and then they kind of need to get more togetherness because that Serbia team looked better than this Nuggets team. That Serbia team
played
more
together for 5 years though already. There's no need for cohesiveness. That should already be there.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, the only difference is Westbrook. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Unfortunately, I don't know what's happening there and what's happening behind the scenes. But I do feel like the Nuggets. I do feel like the Nuggets could surprise us again because they have that in their DNA, and it might be in the Clippers' mind from past history. I don't know where it's at. And Joe, you talked about health. We all thought that them resting guys at the end of the season was going to lead to health going into the playoffs. And guess what? It didn't help. So maybe you need to hey, it's Mr. Botello. So I thought that rest would help this team. And unfortunately, it has not turned into a good playoff series for them.
And I'm usually Mr. Positivity. I'm usually like, hey, there's still a chance. They're only down 2-1 right now. They could do. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And even I'm like,
go wrong?
They're dead.
Oh, Nick, Mr. Positivity. Well, you know what isn't dead? Some of our.
This is the victory formation.
All right, boys, here we go. Best play in football. 6 right tight diamond victory on 1. Break.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, it's jam.
The Pick'em segment proving that Colin Zanker is the most humble man in the history of time. Least. Featuring Nick Archuleta wishing he was somewhere else. And Joe Goodwin just kind of winging it.
Oh, that's right, everybody. Welcome into the Victory Formation, where we make real bets with fake money and keep track of it to see who is the best out of us three, at least, throughout the year. You can follow along and make your own with us, or you can make your own picks and let us know what you think, whether it be in the comments or on our socials. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching us and hanging around to the Victory Formation. Let's get into last week's picks, but before I do that, I do have to say this. The Denver Broncos, in 3 days, have selected more players than the Rockies have wins in 2.5 months.
Oh,
you know what? Yesterday was
2 months or a month, whatever.
What? No, it was the doubleheader. The doubleheader in Kansas City. They finally reached 420.
They finally reached 420, and then they dropped back down because they lost afterwards. All right, let's get into the Victory Formation, something the Rockies know nothing about. We kicked things off in the UFL, where the Stallions played the Roughnecks. Stallions minus 400 favorites came away with the victory. Nick and Joe both chose them, plus 1250 for them. The Golden Knights come out victorious against the Wild. Me and Joe also got that one correct. 15-26 our way. Padres on Sunday Night Baseball last week beat the Astros 3-2. Nick is the only one who believed in the Fathers and comes out victorious against the Cheaters. Me and Joe both thought the Mavericks were going to somehow beat the Grizzlies and get swept by Oklahoma City, but the Grizzlies said, no, it's our chance to get swept and come out victorious. $14 towards Nick in that one. And then UCLA and Oregon in college baseball, a 10-16 matchup, I believe, when we had picked this. UCLA came out victorious in our game one. Luckily 2-1 because then Oregon won 2 straight. So for Nick and I, luckily we got that one right at plus 115. We won 2150. So Joe went 2-3 this week. I also went 2-3, and Nick is the big winner, going 4-1. Nick wins 57.52, bring his total up to 349.13. Joe might have lost $2.24 this week, but he's still in second at 291.46. I won 676. Thank you for not being 10 cents less. Mark of the devil, evil, jungle of nastiness. And I won, or I'm at 289.53 for the year. This set of picks for this week, heading in to I guess just heading into next week. We start off with the Kings and the Oilers. Kings plus 115, Oilers minus 135. Nick, who you got?
Kings have been a surprise this year. Give me the Kings.
Nick takes the Kings. Joe, who you got?
Yeah, I think I'll take. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Sacramento Kings. Thanks, Nick.
Well, Joe loves to not bet on the right teams and lose $10. So there you go. Let's see if we can pick the right one here as we go. Pacers versus Bucks. Pacers plus 155. Bucks minus 185. Joe,
Give me Tampa. The Bucks.
Tampa Pacers. Cool.
No, Tampa is the Bucks. That's the joke.
That was a stretch.
It's this. I don't know, man. Like Milwaukee's proven something. I think. Yeah, I'm going to take Milwaukee because I think the Pacers win the series, and that always seems to be how this goes. Whoever I think wins the series will lose the game that we're currently betting on.
I am taking the Pacers. I know Lillard is back, but it has really taken. It took what was it 9 threes from Trent, I think.
Gary Trent Jr.
Right.
Gary Trent Jr. Yeah, I think he had like 9 threes or 8 threes, something like that last night. To help them come out victorious. This is Sunday's game, by the way. These are both Sunday's games, or everything is Sunday.
Sunday,
except for one thing. So I'm taking the Pacers because they've looked better in the series so far. Nick, who you got?
Pacers have been great all year, so give me the Pacers.
All right, we move on to college baseball, and we have Tennessee. Oh man, I had this up. I think it's a 3-4 matchup. Let's see if it's still sitting right here. Tennessee number 6 Tennessee, number 7 LSU matching up. It's hard to pick against Tennessee this year, so I'm going with the Balls, even though LSU is at home. Oh, that's tough because it's in college baseball. But yeah, give me Tennessee. Nick, who you got?
I've been good with Tennessee so far. They've done me good. I'll stick with Tennessee for now. Fuck it.
Joe?
Gokes Tigers.
Joe, go with the Tigers. I had a feeling that was going to happen. We move to Sunday Night Baseball. We already know who Nick is taking because it's the Phillies and Cubs in a matchup. Both teams are minus 110 in
but
this
Nick,
one.
your favorite player
is
Bryce
taking
Harper.
The Cubs and broken the heart of Bryce Harper. Joe, who you got?
Broken the harp. I'm taking Nick's guy, Bryce Harper. Let's go.
Okay. I was starting to type it in. I am also not believing in a man with 3 names and Mr. Crow Armstrong. Give me the Phillies in this one.
Dude, PCA is going to burn you again.
He hit the game-winning home run. And we wrap things up with the UFL. Defenders 3-1 against the Renegades. Also 3-1. None of these are our teams.
I don't think so.
So who you got, Joe?
I mean, I love picking against the defenders, so let's keep doing that. It's worked once, I think.
He's going with like Arlington and the Renegades. I am going with the DC Defenders because I chose the home team last week and they lost and blew it for me. So go DC. Nick, who you got?
I want to be a Renegade.
Cool.
Nick loves Texas. He's going to Arlington. Beware the eyes of the Ranger are upon you.
If I knew the words, I would sing along with Colin.
That's the old Walker, Texas Ranger theme song right there.
This is my sons, Walter and Texas Ranger.
Shake and bake, baby. We're about to shake and bake this thing out into space. That is it for the victory formation. And Nick is about to send us home. Well, send me to work, technically.
Hopefully. Well, yeah, I'm going to work too here in a minute. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Thank you, Michael Spillin, and everybody over at e5280sports.com for hosting us. Thank you to Pikes Peak Sports Cards, our sponsor. And thank you all for tuning in, because without you, I mean, we would still do this, but it wouldn't be as much fun. So make sure you check out our socials. We'll be back next week. And like, share, love, whatever you need to do to make sure we keep doing this, because we love doing this and we want more of you to listen to us because we're fun.
Yeah. If you didn't think we loved you, my laptop's at 5% right now. That's
Hi,
how
everybody.
much I care.